Hi there, I'm Lanna Monday, and this week I am back with Ramy El-Batrawi. How are you doing, Ramy?
I'm doing great. How are you, Glenn?
Very good. So we have Ramy on today because he's written a book, and we touched on this briefly last time. The book is called Can You Really Think and Grow Rich? And Ramy is a wonderful authority on this subject because he has read Think and Grow Rich many, many, many times, and it played a massive role in his success. And Ramy's gone through quite a bit of things, a lot of ups and downs. So we thought it might be really nice to be able to pick his brain a little bit and maybe have him talk briefly about one of the chapters in his book that is focused on alibis. So Ramy, tell us a little bit about yourself, because my goodness, your story is amazing. You're a businessman, you're a philanthropist. Oh gosh, you've had your hand in so many different projects and pots. It's absolutely fascinating. So tell
Yeah,
our folks a little bit about yourself.
yeah, definitely. I started out really, really young and read the book Think and Grow Rich when I was 12, many, many times over. And I decided to become a business person. I mean, I knew Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill said you can't get rich working for somebody else. So I knew I had to start a business to build wealth. So I started many businesses because a lot that I started failed, and then until I finally hit on them. And then when I went broke again, I had to start many businesses. And there was a lot of trials and errors. And then I was able to keep on building through momentum, different businesses. And it was a really good education also. Every time I started a business, I learned about a business. So when I had an airline, I knew everything about an airline. If it was a tech company, I knew everything about tech companies. Restaurants, I knew everything about restaurants. So it got to where it was educational, it was fun, and the principles work for everything. So I've done a lot, lost a lot, and came back and done a lot more. And I think there's so much in the book. So I definitely want to touch on some of the things that are really important.
Right.
And I think it's a really good idea to hit chapter after chapter.
Right.
And I think chapter one is kind of really a really good chapter in the book. It kind of sets up the rest of the books, and also it gives you a ton of principles, the main principles that I achieve success from. And a lot of it comes from Think and Grow Rich, because I do quote quotes from Think and Grow Rich,
Sure.
and then I show how I apply them into my life and how they worked, and then I recap them. And then along the way, I find my own keys, because I'm experiencing a lot of things. So throughout the book, there's like 28 additional keys of things that Think and Grow Rich didn't mention that I discovered by actually doing and practicing and finding out, things that did work and did not work, and kind of enhance what was written Think and Grow Rich, and take it to one more step, so people can get even a lot more benefits. So again, reading both books is like a must. You have to read Think and Grow Rich as your base, and then my book
Right.
to accelerate what you learn from there and understand how I applied it. Because Think and Grow Rich is definitely an amazing book. It was written in the 30s, and all those principles are based on truth. That's why anything based on truth lasts, test of time, and it's been over 100 years and still as great as it was back then. So, but there's definitely a lot more modern things in more ways, and
Absolutely.
and then
That's
the
one of
modern version of it, of what I can do with those principles.
And that's the wonderful thing about your book, because a lot of people, even though Think and Grow Rich, it's been a bestseller for years and years and years, a lot of people today have a really hard time sometimes just making that connection with the application, because that's what you're talking about, is the application of the principles, right, in modern day society. And the wonderful thing about your book is you actually lay it out and explain, in a modern setting, a way that people can understand how you applied the principles and how that they can learn from your own experiences.
Yeah, exactly. And in chapter one, what I did is also I started the book the way Think and Grow Rich finished, but I thought it was really important. Think and Grow Rich was pointing out all the alibis and excuses people use not to succeed. So I thought I'd just put it right in front of the book so people understand, and they can relate right away to all the alibis they use. And these are the alibis that I could have used also. And there's so much more also I found out through life. And today there's a ton more alibis between all negative things on the internet or different things that you didn't think of. You could write a million alibis and people have them. So I wrote first, top alibis people use, which is really important because I want you to examine yourself. Are you using these alibis not to even start and not to even try, or have an excuse why you failed and not want to try again? So
Right.
that's why I thought it was really important to put the alibis there. So kind of like saying, okay, these are the alibis I use. If you're using this, you should kind of like really consider them, because I've had all those alibis. I used any of them because when I left home, it talks about not having education, not having money, and all that. I left home at 12. I was uneducated, dropped out of high school. I was homeless in the streets. So any of these alibis people use, had criticism from everybody. Number one thing that stops a lot of people is criticism from their families and stuff. So had those alibis too, but it didn't stop me. I just overcame all of them and understood that one of people's opinion don't matter. I mean, they haven't achieved anything. So why should you listen to what they have to say?
All right. I have a question just for our viewers, especially folks that are not familiar with Think and Grow Rich.
Right.
The term alibi means what? What is an alibi?
An alibi is saying why I didn't succeed. An alibi saying, well, I didn't have a good education, so I didn't know enough, and that's why I didn't succeed and try. Or I was raised in a bad family, or I didn't have the money, or I didn't have the contacts, or I didn't know anybody. If I was born maybe in a different time. I mean, it's just all the excuses.
So it's an excuse.
Is exactly it.
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill calls it an alibi. I put it as it's an excuse, why not to try. And there's really no excuses. It's very easy to fall back on that and not try. So like this, you could say, I'm a victim, I don't have to control. I have this alibis, why should I even try? I can't do it because of all these reasons. And there's not a reason in the world why you can't do it. And that's what my book kind of proves out, that no matter what the excuse was, I had them all. And more, and I still succeeded.
So what was one of your biggest alibis? And I know you read the book when you were really, really young first time, but what throughout your life, if you picked like the biggest excuse you ever had, your largest alibi or most memorable, what would it be, and how did you get over it?
I think it was right at the beginning. Also, was thinking about leaving home at 12 and everything, and I said, well, I don't know anybody. I don't know how to start. I don't know what to do. I don't have any money. So it was a lot of those at the beginning. But once I really read it and then created the burning desire, which is part of the first chapter, it was, the alibis didn't matter. And as I was facing him and people were telling me, I just kept on reflecting on the alibis that he wrote. And I said, that's just an alibi. So anytime when I stop and don't want to do something, or a little bit afraid of doing something or risking something, then I think about the excuses almost right away, and then reflect and say, oh yeah, that's just an excuse. That's just an alibi.
Right. So you mentioned burning desire.
Right.
What was your very first recollection of having something that you really wanted to go after? Your very first burning desire?
A very burning desire, it's still the same desire I have today. I kept it for a very long time. So when I read the book, and I was reading Think and Grow Rich about Henry Ford and all the great titans and people that build great wealth, Andrew Carnegie, my burning desire was really to build great wealth. And burning desire is just that. And I explain in the book how to do it. And Napoleon Hill explains it too. It's not just wanting something, wishing for something, because everybody wants and wish for money or things. And like Don Green says, then it's just a dream, just a and the way you create a burning desire is really decide what you want, and then you got to mix a lot of emotions behind it, and it doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or emotions. Is like in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, he mentions love and sex is more a bigger emotion, but also pain is a big emotion. And I give a good example. Some people use psychedelic drugs to create some emotional things. So it's like you get that desire and you kind of mix it, have thoughts of emotional things. So you're thinking that thought, it kind of opens up your mind and creates that desire that is unstoppable. And I did a couple of podcasts that I kind of give an example, like some of these men who wanted a woman in their life that married, I asked the guys who were married, he says, when you first met your wife, how did you feel? It was like love at first sight, and they felt so much burning desire, and that's all they wanted was her, and they figured it out. They figured out how to court her, how to win her over,
Right.
and she rejected them just like my relationship. It took me 18 months to convince my wife to marry me, and it was, but that's like almost a perfect example of a burning desire. You see something that you want so bad, and you emotionally mix your desire with it,
right,
and then you go after it, and then it makes you kind of unstoppable, because the road to success, is not a straight line. It's not that easy. You're going to face nonstop no's, rejections, bumps on the road, shifts. It'll look impossible to you so many times that you'll be able to achieve it. And the only way you're going to keep on going is having that desire that is so strong. And that's why the burning desire is really important, that you don't stop for every bump and every no. So that's why it's really, really important. And I put a really good example in a book about somebody who had a burning desire that I wanted to show the extreme. And I was lucky enough to see the Coral Castle. Now, this is something that didn't happen 3,000 years, 5,000 years ago. It happened in Florida less than 100 years ago. So it shows that it's really true, and people can Google it and look at it and go visit it. And it's called the Coral Castle. And this is a guy who was 4'9". His name is Ed Lanchant. And he was in love with this woman, and she left him the day before they were going to get married. And he delved in so much pain that when he was in so much pain, he thought in his mind, if he can build this castle, he could win his love back. And he thought about it and thought about it. And he was in so much pain. He had no money. He had no way of really building capital, but he thought about it. And until his burning desire opened up something in his mind, until today, we still don't know how he did it. And the smallest block in this castle is 2 tons. The door weighs 20 tons.
Right.
And he built this castle, all by himself. Nobody saw him work. He said this wall will be up one day, and it was up. I mean, the people still speculate if he figured out the power of levitation, how he built. So today they still don't know how he built it, and he died with a secret. But that burning desire, was mixed with that emotional of so much pain and desire of getting his wife back. He was able to build a castle that nobody else can build today. And he did it by himself. He had no tools, nothing. So this is just an extreme example that one of the things that Think and Grow Rich puts in his chapter, and I put in my chapter also, that whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And that was perfect example. And that was a good example for me for the rest of my life. I said, if that man can build that castle with his mind, then money is an easy thing to make, or anything I wanted was easy. I mean, money's everywhere. There's trillions of dollars. You have to tap and figure out how to get it. So that, to me, achieving great wealth was so much less than building that castle, which I would never know how to do. I don't have that burning desire to do that or try to figure it out. And I preach also for people to not suppress their feelings when they're going through a heartbreak, like a woman leaves them or something, to really delve into it and feel those emotions, because those emotions, negative, positive, your mind doesn't know if it's negative or positive. It just opens up. You just use those emotions behind the desires of the things that you want, and it'll drive you to what you want. So that was basically the chapter 1 of the book, is really figuring out, looking at all the excuses, and then how to build that burning desire to get what you want. And if you read nothing past chapter 1 and had that alone, you could achieve great successes also. But
it's a different mindset.
It's a different mindset and stuff, and the book continues on and gives more and more of the principle. But those are some powerful principles to, one, not using any alibis, 2, build some burning desire that doesn't stop you.
Right. That's definitely the fuel that fires the flame.
Exactly.
Do I have that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in purchasing a copy of Ramy's book, you can actually go to CanYouReallyThinkAndGrowRich.com, and you can order it directly from Ramy. And he also has a special offer right now, and it is a paired combo. It is his book and the Think and Grow Rich, the original 1937 edition. that was released right around the years of the Depression. So it's a wonderful opportunity. It's an excellent price point. And Ramy, I would really like for you to come back next week and maybe talk about chapter 2 of your book. Would you be willing to do that?
Absolutely, I would love to.
Awesome, awesome. Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us. And Ramy and I will see you next week.